Welcome to the Yamaha Garage. Today we're going to show you how to change both your engine oil and oil filter on your Yamaha YZ250F. You'll want to replace both after the initial break-in and then every 7.5 hours for oil and 12.5 hours for oil filter. However, I recommend that you change the oil filter every time you change the oil. When you change the oil in your YZ or WR on a regular basis, you are taking a proactive approach in reducing wear and preserving the life of your bike's engine. We'll be using the YZ250F in this video, but you can also follow along if you have any 4-stroke YZs or WRs. With the Yamaha difficulty rating of 2 wrenches, changing your bike's engine oil and filter will take a little over an hour to complete. Before we start, let's make sure we have everything we need to successfully and safely complete this regular maintenance interval. You'll need 10W40 Yamlube oil, genuine Yamaha oil filters and O-rings, plus the following tools and safety equipment. And why Yamlube? Yamlube maintains its viscosity and characteristics, provides balanced anti-frictional protection, and it is formulated for enhanced wet centrifugal clutch performance. Make sure to check out our Yamlube videos to see why it's the go-to oil for your bike. And Yamaha has made it super convenient for you to protect and maintain the performance of your YZ machine. When you order a Yamlube oil change kit, you get everything you need to change your oil and filter, including Yamaha tested oil and design parts. Now we're ready to get started. When changing your oil, make sure your bike is parked on a level surface. Not only does this make things safer, but it helps with determining the correct oil level. It's best to have a warm engine, so start the engine up and let it idle for roughly 2 to 5 minutes. Once the engine is warmed up, turn it off and wait about 5 minutes. Now, place an oil pan under the drain bolt, then remove both the oil filler cap and drain bolt to let the oil drain out. While the oil is draining, we'll remove the oil filter cover and then the actual filter. Remove the oil filter cover slowly so that the oil filter does not fall out. When removing the oil filter, pay attention to the orientation of the filter so that the new oil filter is installed in the correct direction. You can place the oil filter in a pan so the oil can drain out completely. While we wait on the oil to drain out of the filter, let's replace the O-ring, which is found on the back side of the oil filter cover. And again, with the Yamlube oil change kit, you will receive a filter, O-rings, and washers, all tested and designed for the best protection and performance for your YZ. Then we're going to install both the new oil filter and then the cover. Make sure to install these with the correct torque, which is specified in your owner's manual. Next, we're going to remove the oil strainer. And while we have it out, let's clean it with Yamlube PPC Precision Parts Cleaner, which you can learn more about by clicking on the link below. Replace the O-ring here and then reinstall the clean strainer with the correct torque. Now we're going to reinstall the oil drain bolt with a new gasket. With the bolt tightened, we will now pour the Yamlube into the engine using a funnel. Make sure to consult your owner's manual to determine the correct amount of oil you should be using because the quantity can be different between models and model year. The Yamaha factory racing team presets a Yamlube oil level in the bottles in order to expedite the oil change process. This saves time as the mechanics can just pour the oil right into the engine. Check your Yamaha service manual as it specifies the amount of oil needed for your bike. Also, you'll notice that Yamalube bottles have volume indicators on the side. Once the oil has been placed in the engine, put the filler cap back on. Then, restart the engine for roughly 2 to 3 minutes at idle. Turn the engine off and let it sit for about 1 minute. Let's inspect the oil level window to see if the oil is above the minimum level mark. For 250 engines, if the oil is below the minimum level, you'll need to add in more oil until it's above the minimum and below the maximum. And for 450 engines, the oil should just be above the minimum mark. With the engine running, check the engine oil pressure by looking in the oil window to see if the oil is flowing and check that it decreases to the minimum level mark. If the engine oil level does not decrease after the engine has been started, immediately turn off the engine. There could be an oil pressure issue and the engine could seize. Select models have an oil pressure check bolt as a secondary confirmation. This bolt loosens when the engine is running so that the oil can seep out. Remember, do not remove the bolt all the way. When the oil begins to seep out, you can immediately re-torque the bolt, as this confirms that the oil pressure has been formed. Now, if the oil pressure is not found, or if the oil level does not decrease to the minimum level when the engine is off, here's what to check for. First, your Yamalube quantity, and second, that the oil filter is installed in the correct orientation. As a final checklist, always verify the oil pressure, ensure that all the bolts are torqued, and that there are no leaks present. After this quick final check, retest the oil pressure and flow. Lastly, remember to dispose of the used oil in an appropriate manner. You can either take the oil to your nearest Yamaha dealer, recycling center, or ask your local automotive parts supplier if you can drop it off there. Congratulations, you just changed the oil on your YZ just like a factory mechanic. Thanks for watching, and make sure to check out Yamaha's YouTube channel for more Yamaha Garage tech tips. Now let's get out and ride.